I do. I do.
It's
My
awesome.
my companion. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, and today I'm hanging out with Ben, Adam, and Diana from Dragons and stuff, and apparently some other stuff as well. So you guys can go into as much or as little as that as you want to, but essentially you guys are playing Pathfinder and streaming it on Facebook, which is really unique. Like when you first contacted me, and I'm pretty sure you said that's what you were doing, and it still didn't register. And I started looking at your stuff, and I'm like, but where are they at? And then, and then I started digging a little bit deeper. I'm like, oh, they literally just stream right to Facebook. So how did that come about?
Well, I'm the producer, or one of the producers, I should say, from Vision Entertainment, a small studio based in Beverly Hills, California. And we had a unique opportunity presented to us by Facebook to create content for Facebook, specifically in the gaming realm. And so one of the pitches was my own, called Dragons and Stuff. And I actually was basing the world of Dragons and Stuff on characters we had already previously played in a online series that we produced 2 seasons of, which is called Walking in Circles. And there may be a few fans out there from Walking in Circles. And so our characters are from that world that we created and did 2 seasons of, that people can watch on YouTube and all the traditional sort of platforms there. And we took those characters into Dragons and Stuff. And with Facebook, like I said, it was kind of as I was explaining to you before the show, it's a little bit of a win-win in the sense that they kind of get to see how gaming performs on Facebook, but we get to directly engage with the fans in a way that I don't know that there's other content that gets to do, especially in the long form. I mean, obviously, you have things like Snapchat, Instagram, that type of thing, but in the long form, this is something I don't know that really anybody else is doing yet. I think people will, but it really helps us have those analytics and helps the people on our social media and really be able to see how we're performing, where we can perform better, because not to sound cliche or whatever, but it is kind of the social network, and it really does allow a lot of insight into how we're doing.
Well, yeah, you had mentioned before, like Facebook has the best analytic tools that you can possibly look at. I mean, YouTube's really close too, but you have other tools that you don't have, as on YouTube, on Facebook.
It's interesting because YouTube, everybody uses YouTube, but everybody uses YouTube in a different way than they use Facebook, because everybody's on Facebook, from your grandma to yourself to your coworker to your
dog.
Yeah, to your dog, to your dog. So it's interesting how people utilize Facebook in a slightly different way than how they utilize YouTube. So while your content, and this is no knock against YouTube. We use YouTube, and I think we'll probably continue to use YouTube, and you'll probably in the future find Dragons and Stuff episodes on YouTube. I think that Facebook just has that way of connecting people and finding communities that in a way that is really kind of untapped to this point, outside of just like Facebook pages and stuff. But like I said, long form content is a little new in that regard.
No, absolutely, and you're right in the sense that Facebook is a place where people go to hang out, compared to YouTube, where they go and they're kind of just like voyeurs in a sense, and you don't have that immediate interaction. You're absolutely correct in that regard.
That's one of the cool things about when we're actually in game playing. We have a live chat feed that goes up, so we're seeing what everybody else is commenting. That's a great way that we have to interact with our fans. Is they're commenting with each other in this live, social, quick sort of way, and then we get to respond to that in a similar sort of fashion. And it livens the game up for us a bit too, because when we're having a really good game and things are really funny, we've got some really funny fans out there, and they will just, they keep the laughs coming even for us. And then when we're doing a really bad game and just nothing is happening, you can just like,
which is pretty standard, actually.
Which is just like, that's like what we do. We don't do anything.
It's more 80-20 that way, I think.
But they also give us input, like on what we should do in that moment too, which is also great. Yeah.
So
like
if we're just stuck, they'll shoot us a plan, and we'll be like, "That's a great plan. We're gonna do that plan."
That takes metagaming to a whole new level.
Right? Doesn't it?
Or they'll remind us of fails that we have done in the past, or bring up stuff every single week. Like, for instance, his character hates this NPC.
Oh, yeah.
And the fans love to bring it up every single time.
Just as much as they can. They like to bring up how much
And it presents actually both the show and the platform of Facebook present an interesting opportunity where you can use sharing tools and hashtags and things to make a whole thing out of nothing, really.
Right.
I mean, your rivalry with Jonathan is now, hashtag Team Jonathan all the time in our chat, and then people can share it with that. And so that's another sort of immediate return that Facebook grants you while you're live, that you're sharing it out to your friends. Really, if you're just a viewer, you're just sharing it with your friends. And they're like, what is this guy talking about, Team Jonathan?
Right.
And then they tune in and maybe they have some fun too.
Yeah.
Does Exordius, does that mean anything to you guys?
Exordius, yes. Exordius was my lovely sword, and it is now lost. It got chucked from my hand in an owl-bear fight.
No, that was Swordicles.
It was.
Oh yes, that was Swordicles.
Yeah,
Swordicles.
Exordius lost in walking in circles.
I lost in walking in circles by an ogre chucked it out of my hand. Basically, whatever sword I have gets chucked out of my hand by some sort of monster or creature. But I'm always, running forward and fighting no matter what. I'm striding boldly forth. As my shirt says. I don't know if you can get a glimpse of that. It's blowing out the screen.
Just shove your butt right in there. That's what the fans have tuned in to see. Just that tech. That one right there.
One.
Yeah, some sexy man boob. Bring it on. So apparently you have a fan in the chat, TrueMate on YouTube. I don't know who he is on Facebook, his alias. So
okay.
For tuning in. TrueMate, I believe, was the name you said.
Yes, TrueMate. Yeah.
I'm sure that maybe that's one of our Facebook fans.
Yeah.
It is. He was actually, when I posted up the live chat yesterday, he had already jumped in there and was commenting on it, saying how we need more Facebook streams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need. I know a lot of our fans have already been saying that once a week is too few.
Yeah.
But it's pretty wild, actually. If you've ever checked out the show, or if you're curious in watching this interview to check out the show, you'll find that we do things not only different in that we're on Facebook, but the layout of the show presents some logistical challenges for us each week to do the show more often, because we have what we term the info cam and the action cam. So the info cam is basically anything from character stats to links for social media, but we also try to tell people about the game, and we do a little kind of fun flourishes with Sir Gerald's guide, telling you about the enemies
and facts too.
Fun facts and stuff, and so we're gonna have a whole library. I mean, at this point, we're hundreds deep of cards, so it's tough to see the same card twice in a session. You'll probably see the same card twice as you go through the episodes. And then we also have our action cam, which is really a feat and very intensive throughout the week to create, because what's happening is our GM is trying to create scenarios that, I mean, quite honestly, we don't have to do what the GM wants us to do.
Of course.
But of course, our graphics people are trying to create graphics, anything from people to monsters to items to locations that are all changed in real time, and should be a fairly accurate representation of what's happening on the screen. In terms of, it's kind of like the old Final Fantasies, where you'll kind of see Quigley in a ready position, waiting there with his sword, until he strikes, and then he'll strike and go back to a ready position. So it's really quite a feat, and nobody else is doing that. So it just kind of gives a little visual flair that other shows are understandably not attempting, because it is quite an undertaking.
Yeah, you guys have a nice setup. I was actually checking that out a little bit when you're slaying tech dragons.
Yeah, there's quite a few things that happen in an episode from a tech perspective, and trying to keep all those balls in the air without dropping any. So a big hats off to our tech team, Doc and Neo.
They kill it every week. And he's also, Neo doesn't talk very much, but Doc gets so angry with us sometimes. And he's our little peanut gallery back there. He's like, why are you doing this? And he'll scream from back there. And
yeah, so in a way, we almost have like a live in studio audience.
Yeah.
So you you guys got a DM, 4 players. How did your group come together? And you said that you guys were doing something previous together. Was it all the same crew?
So we actually have 5 players and the GM. And what we were doing before was called Walking in Circles. Walking in Circles is our tagline is it's the greatest medieval fantasy comedy adventure of all time, which we can say because nobody's going to debate it because nobody else has that same title. So we can obviously make that claim. And people can go watch 2 seasons of that for freezies, whether it's on YouTube or on our website, wictheseries.com. So if you head over there, you can find actually the T-shirt that Quigley is wearing right now, along with some other character T-shirts we have, plus the series. And that was where we had 4/5 of our cast. Actually, the GM of Dragons and Stuff is the writer of Walking in Circles, so it's a very similar comedic take, world building. And then myself, Diana, Ben, and then Eric, who is Crag. And then we brought in a newbie called Lyra is the character, and Ashley Seal is the actress who joined our crazy crew. So Walking in Circles was not a game; it was a world. It was a whole series, a show. But it was very easy for us to jump back, and I figure I'll give you guys a chance to talk about that.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, just jumping into because we both came in the second season of Walking in Circles, and just I knew right away who the character Squire Quigley was. Like in my head, it just sort of clicked, and I was like, that's who Squire Quigley is. And so I never really...
And it's been tough to get him out of that ever since.
I know. Every time we're around, I slip into it. So.
I had a challenge because if you watch the show, my character does not talk at all. So playing this Pathfinder game, I'm like, should I say something? When do I say something? But I try to stay a little true to my character. I don't talk as much as they do. But every now and then I'll...
That's in real life, too.
Every now and then I'll say something when it's important. But, I mean, it's still hard. Like, part of me still wants to be silent about it. But then I'm like, no, because both of you will piss me off sometimes. And I have to, like, say something. Or any of them.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's why I want you to talk and not me.
Well, you know, saying something's better than, like, knifing them or something. So...
Well, I mean, that's what my character does. Yeah. But, yeah, no, I agree.
Excellent. So if I look off to the sides, because I'm kind of like paying attention to you guys in the chat at the same time, but they're just talking to themselves anyway. That happens often. And then the show just kind of happens in the background.
There you go.
Yeah. That's we're used to that.
We're used to that.
Yeah, there's side conversations that happen in our chat, you know, and we just let them go to town.
And also, guys, for everyone in the chat or watching this now or later, in the description, you can find links to go check out Dragons and Stuff as well. So can they find your other stuff through any of those links?
Yeah,
can they?
They might have to find us on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not sure that...
They might have to watch an episode in order to get to those.
You've just identified a clear flaw in our marketing strategy.
If you guys send me the links after we're done or whatever, I will insert them in, so this way they can find all the stuffs.
Please, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we definitely give a lot of shout-outs in episode, but you've clearly indicated a flaw in our very well-constructed plan.
No worries. And so the nice thing too, so you guys do it once a week, right? You guys have been into it for like 4 months now. So if you guys aren't aware and haven't been following Dragons and Stuff, you can jump in now, and it's not a huge backlog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a backlog of time in terms of episodes take a lot, but it doesn't take very much to get into what the group dynamic is and what we're doing, because quite honestly, we don't accomplish very much. We're terrible adventurers.
Give us some credit.
I think we've done one plan. One plan. That's it. And I wasn't even there.
But we're very entertaining now.
We're very entertaining to watch because, I mean, every mistake you could make in Pathfinder, we do multiple times. So
you'll learn a lot. I think Jim has actually said it really well, and I'm going to do a horrible job paraphrasing, but he basically talks about Pathfinder adventuring in a very unique, every man for himself way.
Oh.
because we're a team, but only in name, really. I mean, everybody's trying to get their own.
Well, you know, it's just how it goes sometimes. But gamers tend to be completionists. So like if they start something, they're going to want all of the thing. And like, you know, going back 4 months is not quite as bad as like if you were to jump into like Critical Role now and you're like got like 2 years of backlog to go through.
Yeah, that would be a lot to catch up on. I can understand that.
Yeah, I know. I haven't caught the bug. I'm very intimidated by just that sheer catalog. Garuda has a question for you. What tips do you have for DMing on Facebook?
You know, obviously that's a great question for our GM Jim, who we call Evil Jim Jam. I would say definitely one of the things that I could give some advice to, just because I have gotten to play with Jim for many years prior to doing Dragons and stuff. And one of the things I recognize that he has done very well is he stayed true to a lot of the things that he normally does. So definitely don't try to stretch yourself in too many different ways by performing for a crowd. But one of the things that Jim's always been looking to do and has started to really do with Dragons and stuff, which has been very interesting and very cool for viewers to see, is trying to add a practical element into the game. So while we may not have like a battle mat with minis roving around on it, what Jim will do is he might put like a puzzle in front of us, and we have to solve the physical puzzle. So that like he said, he's like, I can just give that to you children, and you guys can just sit there and play with it and try to figure it out. He's like, and that keeps you occupied while I can, you know, continue telling the story that I have to tell.
Sorry, but he's very descriptive. That's what I love about him. You can really like use your imagination, listen to what he says. Everything is so detailed.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
And he's got a great vocabulary.
Yeah.
He will, you know, he goes and he will talk and really kind of liven. I mean, that's the job of the game master, to just really like liven the world for the players, and he's doing that, but just to a much wider audience as well.
I think it's also fair that Jim doesn't worry too much about the rules either, especially in a live Facebook setting. I mean, the rules are there, and you want to follow them, and we do, but there's also some just sort of hand waving away and just saying, let's do the story. Let's continue and go forward. So I think that's.
For instance, last week we had a great session where we were in a very tight hallway.
Oh.
And we were in a very tight hallway. At the very front was our barbarian, and at the very back was, I believe you were at the very back, right? Yeah, you were.
Before we had the dive.
No, yes. Okay. So two skeletons, two very, very undead, evil skeletons attacked us from both sides, which we should have been able to handle very easily. However, my character always wants to like get into the fray real fast and be the hero. So I decided to slide underneath. I was going to jump over, slide underneath Sir Crag's leg, underneath the skeleton's leg, and then attack the skeleton from behind.
Which you already know this is going to work, right, Dave?
Sounds like a perfect plan to me.
It worked out great. I ran it right into his legs, knocked him to the ground.
Crag.
Yeah, knocked Crag to the ground. Then I think.
Oh no! Then you did the same thing to me and knocked me down. So then all three of us were in a pile, and then they knocked Alex.
Then Lyra knocked her down.
Lyra, the healer.
So at one point in the entire fight, there are two skeletons up there fighting us, and all five of us are knocked on the ground just based off of one another.
The skeletons are looking at each other like, "What do you want to do?" I don't know.
I'll fight these guys.
Take themselves out.
Yeah, if skeletons could emote, they would have made very funny faces.
Yeah.
That's great.
But I mean, those are some of the ways that Jim really excels at making the game fun. And if you do have more questions about how, specifically Jim, or just more tips on how to GM, we do have a subreddit, which is just reddit.com/dragons-and-stuff. So definitely go check out the Reddit, because Jim is talking to you there. All these guys are actually on Reddit and talking to you. So if you do have direct questions, Jim is never hesitant when he can write things. If he has to talk to you, it might be less words. But when he writes, you'll get all the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, you guys can find the link to that Reddit in the description, of course. So they're coming up with they're making up the business card for him in the chat. Matt Bolcholtz. He has a great vocabulary. Put it on his business card. Entertaining dungeon master and great vocabulary. So they got it all figured out for him over there.
That's accurate. That sounds like him.
Yeah, that fiasco you just described reminded me of one of our early games when we were using crit fumbles.
Nice.
Yeah.
And someone rolled a 1 with a greatsword, and so we did the grenade thing to see which way it went. And of course, it went at the mage carrying the lantern, who then, the GM at the time had the character roll an attack roll on him, crit the attack roll.
Nice.
Drop the wizard on top of the lantern, so he's unconscious and on fire. So one of the other characters pushed him into a stream. So now instead of being unconscious on fire, he's unconscious and drowning. But these are the best moments in gaming.
Yeah, I mean, who could blame him? That's very reasonable. That seems totally.
We've tried to crit our wizard plenty of times.
How dare you? Dare you. Marcus controls the power of the universe.
It's what they're there for. But as far as Reddit, I personally stay out of there. My writing is terrible, and I still have flashbacks and nightmares from an article I wrote on our website, and then shared it over there, and they just came over in droves with red markers.
Yeah, they can be relentless. I actually was just commenting, not to go too far, of course, but it's funny you bring that up because when we first made Walking in Circles, I just told you guys about this. The very first comment we ever received on the very first thing we ever made and put on the internet was Walking in Circles. We made a trailer, and I put it on a forum for maybe Giant in the Playground or something like that. I put it on a forum, and the very first comment was, the kerning on your W to your A is incorrect. And I was like, I don't even know what that means at the time. Like, this is the first thing I'd ever made. So then I had to go Google search, what is this guy talking about? And then I figured out what he meant was in Walking in Circles, the W and the A were too far apart. Jesus. And I was like, dude, I just use default text. Do you think I'm any better than that? And so I'll never. But it was great to get that as your first internet comment, because I was like, all right, well, now I know it's completely ridiculous and I'll just never take these seriously. Yeah. So it was actually really good to get that as the first comment. But yeah, I mean, the internet is full of crazy people, but that's why Facebook actually is really nice, is because the Facebook community so far, while you may get into political discussions on your own walls, on Dragons and stuff, it's a really great tight-knit community. And if you're someone just coming in, we and our community are so welcoming and will immediately sort of indoctrinate you into
You'll be like, what is happening? And you will get a full explanation from everybody about what's going on with the group, how are they doing this week. Their fans are fantastic.
And because it's Facebook, they're continuously giving us new content, whether it's shares or comments, or they're making fan art and posting it, or if they're reviewing the show, or just coming up with their own headcanon, which there's been a lot where we've been like, that's going in the show. That is perfect.
Most of it has to do with that NPC that I hate so much.
His name is Jonathan.
No, I will not say his name.
His name is Jonathan. Say his name to the fans.
No.
His name does not exist. The name we shall not speak. So Jinker GM, Windows OS is horrible at kerning. There you go.
I've always wondered if that guy ever became a fan. If he was ever you know what?
Maybe he's watching right now.
Yeah, maybe he's still watching, or he's the one guy that
he's like, ooh, I didn't know.
I didn't know I was the first one.
He was probably the one guy that came to leave one dislike on every one of your videos because of the kerning.
I was just about to say he's our one dislike on each of our videos. Yep.
We've got one or two of those guys that just show up to dislike. So
what are you still doing here?
If you don't like it, get out.
Yeah. But that's one of the things about Facebook. No dislike button yet.
Yeah, no dislike button, and I love that.
Oh, wait a minute. They can make angry and crying emojis, right?
Yeah, but I tend to take that in a different way. Like, oh, hey, you're just angry about what we're doing because we're, you're so angry that we didn't do what you wanted us to do, rather than I don't like you.
Right. That's the head canon again.
Yeah.
You're telling your own stories about what the things are.
Yeah, that's my own personal fan head canon. So
Well, as long as they stick to the head canon and away from the fan fiction, you guys are good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then it's going to get weird.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that yet.
Thank goodness.
Well, on a whole, I find that the just the RPG community in general is really good in comparison to some other communities out there that can be far more toxic. We rarely get trolls or people that are too douchey. It's not bad. I mean, we're going in our 4th year of this, so we've had quite a few comments.
It's great because it was just this conversation I was having with another RPGer yesterday was about the idea that like you can get into these like Xbox is better than PlayStation. No, PlayStation, but like honestly in Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and the rest of the game systems, it's more or less like, oh my gosh, I've never played that before. I want to play it. Or like, oh yeah, I gave it a shot. I didn't really like it. I prefer this system. Like nobody's really like, dude, you're stupid for playing that. Everybody tends to be really tight-knit and want to help or just tell you like why they like something. So it tends to breed a lot of discussion, which is really good.
So one of the Poison in the chat is letting me know, Dave, you guys usually have a dislike on your live chats before they even start. So.
That sounds like some of our trolls.
Yeah,
and talk to us.
Our trolls are they're very witty trolls. They don't, nobody ever is really just bad mouthing. They are just very fun, witty answers. I have a guy that I go to church with who watches the show, and
he trolls you guys all the time.
He's our resident troll.
Yeah, he'll call himself troll, and he'll announce it when he's in the chat.
He loves it too. Yeah. And he's like, Kyle the troll here. Hey, Ben, I'll see you at church on Sunday. And then he'll bring up some witty, terrible thing to say to me. And, it's great. It's a lot of fun.
He's the best worst.
He's the best worst.
Nice. Well, yeah, sometimes you do get those where they troll you with a comment and you're like, wow, that was just so good. You almost want to frame it.
Yeah.
I think you do sometimes.
I mean,
I won't tell them about your room.
If something is very funny, maybe.
So what level is the game you guys are playing in now?
We started at 3rd level, and we are currently 4th level. I know that these guys can't wait to get to 5th level, which is probably happening pretty time soon. Pretty time soon? Sometime pretty soon.
That sounds really good.
Pretty time soon.
That's about as well as I speak. But that's one thing that Jim has also kind of let people know, and definitely let us know, that he's progressing leveling at a slightly different way, just because with the show, if suddenly, honestly, the way we're going, playing every week, we'd be leveling up a lot faster if we were kind of on the traditional scale. But Jim's sort of doing it more for story points and things like that, so that we're not just gods running around cutting things down immediately. There gets to be that tension of lower levels.
Yeah. And as you can tell, since we've only gained 1 level since we started, we don't hit a lot of those story points very quickly. So it takes a while for us to advance the story.
That's a good point.
But we do hit that.
We do hit that.
Credit, guys.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
We get it. We get there.
You're making us sound like failures.
I mean,
no way.
One of us is. Oh wait,
that's true. One of us. Is this a high five?
Oh, yep.
Oh, okay.
You're only failing if you guys aren't having fun.
That's true.
Exactly.
No, we love it.
Definitely.
I haven't used XP since 5th edition came out, to be honest with you. We do all milestones, not even milestones. Like, all right, we had a couple sessions, have a level, or I feel like leveling you now, just numbers.
It really is.
So Jinkers GM wants to know, do you guys have acting backgrounds?
Yes, we all do.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, we're all LA based, and we definitely were all actors in Walking in Circles.
Yeah.
And then these guys have a lot of other things. I know Ben does a lot of theater things. I mean, you guys should tell them your credits more than I should too.
So yeah, I have a few theatrical credits. I was on the national tour of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the musical, for the past 2 years. I played Yukon Cornelius. and other stuff. You know, I have other short films that are out there that have been out there for a little while, but no, that's pretty much it. I'm just doing this and waiting for the next job.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get to Diana's, but at the same time, I was just going to mention, you know, when you're in LA and you're in sort of the web digital culture, you do tend to do a lot of shorts and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of things that we're going to skip over, but that you can see us in.
Yeah, I do a lot of shorts as well. And then my main background is sword fighting and stage combat. So I do a lot of training as well. And then I did a recent, it's like a Viking film, and I play one of the Vikings and I kill this guy basically.
Yeah, that one's incredible. And if you want to see Diana kick a lot of butt, check out, what was the name of that one?
You can find it on Vimeo, and I believe that the title's called Enmity, a Love Story.
And then
I'll send you the link, and then you can.
And you can also see her in the second season of Walking in Circles, kicking a lot of zombie butt. So you should definitely check that out, because a lot of that's one of the things that we really benefited from in Walking in Circles, especially season 2, was that we had we had a stunt coordinator, professional LA stunt coordinator, choreograph our fights. We had professional sword fighters.
Who I train with all of them across the board.
So you should definitely check out Walking in Circles, especially season 2. If you want to just give a little bit of time rather than a lot of time, check out some of the fights in season 2.
Yeah.
This is very important information. My partner Ted used to do Arma for a while, and I'm always trying to get him into death matches, but I have not yet been able to get him killed by a woman. Perfect. Listen, guys. You know, don't tell Ted. He's probably not watching. Don't worry about it. We're gonna be out in LA in a couple of weeks. We can make this happen. You could definitely run them through.
She will kill anyone at any time. I mean, there's really not even.
Wait. How tall is this guy?
He's like my height, but we're on the internet, so like we're only this big. I don't know, like 5'7", 5'8".
Okay, well I'm 5'2", so
you just duck under the.
Just a rogue, I'll figure it out.
If there's anybody that I'm legitimately afraid of in our show, it's definitely Diana. It's not. I mean, the guy who plays Craig Eric is a giant, and he's very strong, and I'm less afraid of him than I am of Diana, because Diana she has all the tools necessary to murder all of us.
Yeah, I was just joking about the stabbing part, but apparently it wasn't that far off.
Yeah. No, I play the rogue on the show. So.
Lots of stabby stab.
Yeah, you piss me off, it's gonna come out.
Uh-oh.
Might be the East Coast thing as well.
Oh, where are you from?
New Jersey originally. That's
where I'm at right now, South Jersey.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm from Monmouth County.
Okay.
Central.
Yeah. I worked in Central Jersey for about 10 years, up until this year. I actually retired from my job to, hang out on the internet with you folks. So
yeah.
That's the dream.
That's the dream right there.
I'm very poor, and I got my eye on some very nice refrigerator boxes just in case. But we'll make it work. We'll make it work. So we do a roll call on here about halfway, and we're a bit past that. So we're going to go to the chat and let them tell us where they're from. In the meantime, staff writer Doug had a question. Do you plan each session for a specific number of sessions or until certain goals are met in an arc? How do you plan organize?
For us, it's, again, there's the difficulty of it's a show outside of it just being a game. And specifically our show, like I said, with the assets that we create from because actually what's really cool, sorry, just a little tangent on this, is people can submit their pictures to us and we Photoshop them into the action cam. So like Dave, if you wanted to be in the show, you'd send me a picture of yourself and you might be the next NPC we encounter or the next enemy. Or we're gonna make Kyle into a troll.
So like the first guy that we had do that ended up being the character that I hate so much. So he's just
there's some risk to it.
Yeah, there is some risk.
To be fair, every NPC these guys hate and don't trust, and my character just goes up to every single one. And is like, hey, what's going on?
Remember, we don't hate the actual person. We just hate the character.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Except for Kyle. We do hate Kyle. So in terms of mapping out the game structure, being the producer of the show, I have some insight, but I tend to steer away from actually knowing about what's happening in an upcoming episode. So that's kind of one of the benefits of being a producer is I can hide myself and insulate myself from that. But I know that Jim maps out sort of what he,
Yeah.
I would say, actually what I would say, better to answer this question is in an early episode, you might discover that there was more things for us to do than in a later episode, because Jim started to figure out our pace. Because it's definitely important to figure out what your player's pace is and how quickly the group might get through things. And so when the group is dysfunctional and doesn't really progress too quickly.
Let's point to the entire group.
I'm pointing to myself.
No, you went like this.
So and the other part of it is that, you know, Evil Jim Jam, he has planned out so far ahead already, because he was like, oh, they're going to get to this point. And then it took us, you know, 4 episodes to get to that point. So then you know, he's always coming up with creative ideas. So he's planned way ahead of where we are right now. I mean, I'm sure that his plan, we should have been done with the current major quest of defeating Woe by now.
No.
But you know, we're just.
I think we would have gotten a lot more done
Maybe.
under his plan. But that's one of the benefits too, is if the players don't get to where you've set that goal, you have a whole other session. And what's really great about that from a GMing perspective too is like, okay, let's say that I set X as the goal, but they only got to, you know, Y or something. Well, in between there, now that you have another week or whenever you happen to play, you can sort of set in new things, new obstacles along the way that you weren't really expecting to be able to have the time to do. So, you know, being a GM, you may find yourself with a little bit extra time to sort of liven up an experience that you had already planned out, but they just didn't get to. So now you have some time.
Totally been there.
Yeah.
One of his favorite things to do is throw up just random roadblocks at us for no reason. I mean, I don't like, so we'll say, hey, we want to go see the governor. Well, and we're walking over there, and he's like, the guard stops you in front of the door and says, okay, you can go see the governor at 2 p.m. this afternoon. And we're like, why? Why?
Because he's a GM and he can. I'm going to jump into chat real quick here. We do a roll call just to see where people are from. Comic Book University. Asbury Park is in Monmouth County. That's where he's from.
Yes, I was born in Ocean Township. I grew up in Ocean, which is like 10 minutes away. Sorry, I got excited.
He's in Canada by way of Saudi Arabia now, though. We have staff writer Doug in Cleveland. We have Rob in Seattle, Siren Fox in Utah, Poisons in Kuwait. True-Mate is in Wales. Brian F. is in New York City. And True-Mate is one of your fans.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
We're fan sharing. Uncle Peter in Toronto. Wallader Smith is in New York. We've got Patrick in Sweden. Evil Silly Putty in Minnesota. Ontario, Canada, in the house with Garuda. Fraginators in Washington State. We have Andrew in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We've got Atlanta in the house with Jinker. That's okay. We got Paul in Pittsburgh. We've got Bob in Arkansas. We've got it jumped, and you're all lost.
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
No, it's how you with the chat. It'll jump every once in a while. We got Regina in Canada with Ivan. We got S. Daniel in the armpit of California, wherever that is. He's told me, but I've forgotten. We've got Jinker GM in Waterdeep. Let's see. So what'll happen is when we keep talking, they'll leave the roll call and then they'll come back. So we've got a bunch of people tuning in. We've been hovering around 50 people so far for the live chat, which is great. You know, middle of the day, middle of the week, perfect. We're probably just stealing a bunch of corporate time right now. From
I'm getting paid to go watch videos.
That's the best way to do it. Also, shout out to the fan from Cleveland. I am also from there. So.
Nice. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of gamers in Cleveland. So, or I mean, in Ohio in general.
Yeah, well, you know, you've got Origins, and then next door you've got Gen Con, you know, every year.
Yes. Will you guys be attending any conventions?
That's our
perfect.
Definitely our goal. Being in California when the local conventions are nearby, those are definitely things we can do. In terms of travel, things do tend to get a little expensive when we're trying to ship out 6 people across the country.
Fair.
So if there's any sponsors out there looking for a show to get behind, we could certainly use it, and would love to get some conventions because we want to meet the fans face to face. It's a great way to build a community, and they're just a lot of fun, and we obviously want to go.
We really love them, yeah.
Yeah, I know the feeling because we like bootstrap everything, but we're friends with some other streamers, and it's like we just have a sad face. Like they get to stay in the nice hotels and
yeah.
Yeah, one of the ones we do. I mean, we definitely wish we could go to Gen Con. We were trying to work out the logistics, but it's not going to happen, which is really disappointing because it's Gen Con 50 this year. So that's super awesome and exciting. But hopefully next year, we can go to a smaller one, PaizoCon, and hoping, fingers crossed, later this year, maybe we'll be able to make Dragon Con happen. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm skipping Dragon Con. I did Origins. I'm doing Gen Con, and both of the Origins I drove out. To Gen Con, I'm actually road tripping out with my son, and he's 16. He's been playing a couple years, so that's really cool. And then PAX Unplugged is right in my backyard, so it kind of.
Oh yes, that's another one we may end up doing actually. Is PAX Unplugged? Thank you for bringing that one up.
Yeah, and Diana, you'll be close to home.
Yes, I'm craving the pizza and the bagels. I can't wait.
And the cheesesteak and the hostess and all that crap. All that stuff is gonna kill you. So, yeah, like I actually have not actually been to that many conventions, and this year I'm just like shotgunning all the conventions. Some of them, like Gen Con, we literally we decided to go, and then I'm like, all right, anybody got floor space? Because we're showing up, and I'd rather not sleep in my car.
Yeah. I can understand that. We actually did a couple years ago for Walking in Circles. We drove straight from LA to Gen Con, 35 hours. So that was insane.
Yeah, that's a bit of a haul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for. I mean, it's not too bad for us. It's only like I think 11 or 12. So me and the boy are gonna shoot out to Cleveland, hang out there overnight, and then we'll grab Doug, our staff writer, and shoot out to Indy from there. So that should be a lot of fun. And I've been invited to be in my first celebrity game too, with Maze Arcana. So that's really cool.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
you guys are great. That's awesome.
Yeah, Matt Colville's supposed to be in it, and Todd Kenrick, and Amy Dallin, I believe. So
let them all know that we wish we could be there, and that if they haven't heard of us, we have heard of them, and we wish them all the best.
Well, I figured you knew all those guys. You're out in LA.
I mean, certainly, if we don't know them, if we don't know them, somebody we know knows them.
Yeah, it's first. Yeah.
Don't all you Hollywood types hang out together?
That's sure. Yep. Mm-hmm. Just the other day.
I hang out with everyone.
Just the other day. Me and Clooney were like, man,
yeah.
Cruz said something so funny over there to Pratt, and we were like, geez. And we all had a good laugh about it.
My staff writer has busted my balls because he got a promotion. Might be, although it's probably worse because they're all volunteers. His title is so long. I think he's definitely more important than me now.
He's just adding extra words to the title for you every time he tells you.
Yeah. So we're actually coming out to LA the 26th. We're going to be on GM Tips on the 29th. Yeah, we're filming on the 29th for that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, if you're available, maybe we can have you by the studio and show you around, or we maybe do a remote one of these or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of thinking along the same lines when you said you guys are in LA. We're going there. We're going to try and cram in as much as we can. So we get there Wednesday night, the 26th, and we're leaving Monday night. So
yeah, just let us know, and we'd love to try to figure out something. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be another 4 or 5 days of not sleeping.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like Origins was getting up at like 8, 9 in the morning, and then going to bed at like 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, those are the long days, and then you're like, no, I gotta get up tomorrow and do it again. I'm so excited, and then you wake up, you're like, why am I doing this? But then you wake up, you get the coffee, and then you're good.
But they're working cons. Like, you guys know, if you go there, you're kind of like hobnobbing and hanging out and meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Making things grow.
So I got a question for you. You're playing in that celebrity game. What character are you bringing to the table?
I don't know yet. I have to get the details, to be honest with you. Doesn't matter to me. I'll just show up, make some stuff happen.
Well, I was gonna say, do you have a preferred class you like to play?
Usually the GM. So like every time, it's like a kid in a candy store. Every time I get to play, I'm like, there's so many choices. What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah, I can understand that. That's definitely, we've heard the same thing from Jim many times, where he's like, I just put me in a game. I don't care.
Yeah. That's it. What, you need someone to play the hobo? I'll play the hobo. I don't care. Bum fighting all the way. No, so yeah, so I really, it's hard to say. Like, we've been playing the same 2 games for the past like 3 years.
That's great when you get those games going.
But like, here's like the caveat to that is we play each of those games once a month. So, so it's actually helped a lot because we're like notorious for starting and stopping games.
Yeah.
And this is really like kept them going. Like, our characters are like 14th level now. And one of the guys in the last game session made the joke, yeah, before, if we wanted to get to 14th level, you had to start at 12th. So I GM, and then my partner GMs, and then we would have like a third GM that would come in round robin.
Oh, well.
Sorry, I was just asking Diana if she'd ever dreamed of being at 14th level.
I would be the most amazing assassin ever.
I mean, Marcus would be in charge of the party at that point. So.
You guys better be careful.
I think Squire Quigley might be dead.
I don't think he's making it to 14.
I will own all of you.
The series just has to go on for a few years. You'll be there.
Oh yeah, maybe like 8 years. We'll be at 14.
8 years! I can't wait.
Oh my goodness! I actually there was a game going on at my house last night with some of my friends that I couldn't play because I was exhausted. But they had their game going on, and they had started just about the same time that the show had started, and I was like, oh, let me check out your character sheets. Oh yeah. I'm looking around, I'm like, what level are you guys at? You have 86 HP, and they're like, we're at level 11, right? I'm like, how'd you get that fast? Punks, I just want to be up that high so bad.
Wow. Yeah, I think the highest I've ever gotten is level 15 or so in a game.
Oh wow.
Which was quite exciting. Never hitting the golden 20.
How are you guys feeling about Starfinder? Do you guys venture out from fantasy?
What's interesting, because with the characters that we have, they come over from this fantasy world of walking in circles. So we have not, as our characters, branched out from there. I know myself, I've played some different sci-fi worlds. I'm excited to see what Starfinder is going to bring to the table. I myself haven't gotten to really see any of the materials yet, but I'm excited about the prospect of it. I think it would be a game system I'd want to play, because, I mean, who wouldn't want to take their wizard and put them in outer space? I mean, that sounds like the coolest thing, right? Who doesn't want the Gandalf Han Solo? So,
We actually got to take part in a collab game for Starfinder run by Owen, I guess a few weeks ago. Well, it was actually, I was supposed to be in the game, but I was actually on my way to, or just getting to Origins at the time. So I had to hand it off to one of my partners. And they got to play in the Starfinder game. They had a lot of fun with it. And it looks great. Like, the artwork is phenomenal. We had Zach Glazer on here from Frog God Games and Lesser Known Games, and they had a Kickstarter going for Starfinder already. It didn't make it, but I was a little sad too, because the art looks so amazing that's coming out for all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I follow them on Twitter, because that's usually where Paizo's like, that's how I keep in best contact with Paizo, and they are posting all that Starfinder stuff all the time. And it just looks so cool. I love that they're like, adding in, computer code hacking and stuff like that, and you can just have a class of that. I think that stuff is so cool. I personally would think it was really cool to see Squire Quigley out in outer space. Don't let the producer hear that, but you know, I'd love to see it.
Maybe just a short jaunt. So TrueMate wants to know. He's asked a few times, so I'll throw it out there. He wants to know if there's any walking in circles shorts coming to YouTube.
Aww.
I wish I could say that the answer was yes, but currently Walking in Circles is sort of on the back burner while we try to get Dragons and Stuff as much eyeballs coverage and sort of expand Dragons and Stuff as best we can. And the reason for that, quite honestly, is one, it's my job. I work at Vision Entertainment, which happens to have Dragons and Stuff as a show. So that's important. But two, one of the really cool things about the internet is, of course, community building and audience building. And our hope is where Walking in Circles was great content that the fans who we had were very dedicated to, we couldn't seem to quite grow that audience. So we're really hoping that the approach of Dragons and Stuff, and so far it seems to be working, is to grow an audience that maybe we can then sort of be like, hey, pull over into a future Walking in Circles thing. But Dragons and Stuff definitely has the characters from Walking in Circles. So if you're looking for some fun and some sort of nostalgia for Walking in Circles, definitely check out Dragons and Stuff.
Craig's still angry. Marcus is still
awesome and magnificent,
doing what he does. Quigley's still just, you know, naive and running into
terrible
stuff. And Alex is still killing stuff.
Yeah.
So
scary.
In their sleep, too.
Terrifying.
So what you're saying is some things never change. Well,
yeah.
you said Walking in Circles went on for 2 years. So what level did those characters get to?
Well, you know, it's interesting because what we were kind of joking about was that because it's basically Lord of the Rings meets The Office is what Walking in Circles was. So, you know, it wasn't really quite game setting, but we kind of were like, since Dragons and Stuff started at level 3, we're like, well, season 1 of Walking in Circles would have been level 1. And season 2 of Walking in Circles would have been level 2. And then Dragons and Stuff is level 3. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Although if you actually watch the fight in season 2, our main fight that happens in episode 7, we're definitely not level 2. We are definitely higher level than that, except for you.
Except for me.
You're like a.
I take one lightning bolt and am knocked out of that battle.
You're an NPC,
so,
I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh no, someone's got to be a shopkeeper.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we're coming up on an hour already, if you can believe it or not.
Wow.
So what do you guys want to leave off with? Again, all the links are in the description. I will also add some more once I get them.
Just, you know, join in. Jump into our show, jump into our chat. You're gonna love it when you're there.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
The chat, like, the people are just wonderful. We're wonderful people too. And obviously when you go and you start to watch, let us know, you know, like type in, hey, it's my first time. We love to give shout outs to first timers and say, hey, well, welcome to the community, you know, and everybody's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's the internet. It's free. Give it a shot. Even if you're not traditionally someone who watches streams of games, because I do know we've had a few fans that were like, hey, this isn't normally something I do. I like to play. I don't normally like to watch. But we've had a lot of people comment about how much fun they're having, because so many people mention that it's not just the game or the story. It's the people that bring them back. It's the people in the chat. It's the players that they're watching, the characters that we've created.
Right.
And if you love arguments, that's another thing that you should definitely tune in for, because you will find lots of those. Lots of debates. You can pick a side. You can be Team Jonathan.
No, you cannot.
You can absolutely be Team Jonathan.
No.
But no, seriously, give it a shot. If you are watching, or if you do become a fan, make sure you share it with other people, because you know we are a new show and we're trying to grow. And I think it is something really unique in the world, not just on the platform that we're at with Facebook, but I do think that you'll find something interesting in the action cam or the info cam to make it sort of unique, a unique experience.
And I think also that we're all actors. I think it brings something different to the table
Definitely.
as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would say, you three seem very entertaining and engaging and fun to interact with. As long as the other three don't suck and drop the ball, you guys should be good to go.
Wait, can I just record this and bring it back?
I was going to say,
sure.
How do you think we didn't invite them? We didn't want to give a bad perception.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They're going to be so mad at us.
I know.
Craig is already typing his comment to us.
Craig is giving me his hammer, and he lives so close. He's walking over to this house right now.
So before we get out of here, I must panhandle the internet. Like I said, guys, we're going out to GM's tips. We're leaving like the 26th, is scheduled for the 29th. Our GoFundMe is still going, and we are like halfway to the goal. So right now, we can definitely fly out there and back. We might be sleeping on the streets, but we're definitely going to get out there. And thank you everyone who's already donated. We really appreciate it. It helps so much. If you haven't and you can give, please do. Or if you can't and you've already given, please share it out on social media. Every little bit helps, guys. Thank you so much. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Ben, Adam, Diana, it's been great meeting you guys and hanging out. And hopefully get to hang out in LA too. That'd be really cool.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It's been great talking with you. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Thank you for having us.
And thanks to all the fans for tuning in.
And you're welcome. And yes, thank you guys for showing up today and hanging out with us. So until next time, guys, stay nerdy.